All right, we are back, and Star Wars. Last time we talked, it was before Episode 3, and I was dead last week. But we are back to Episode 4, which is dropped now. So we're going to end with the criticism. We're going to look at something that I apologize in advance. Personally, I apologize. We're gonna look at diss track. So I apologize in advance for this.
I'm going viral on Twitter again. Open up the news to find some interesting things. 29 views in a view from 2018 with Trevor the King. When I was a teen, I was running from city to speak on the story. You know the one. Oh, you smell like a black boy. Yeah, my people cried in the theaters. Find it releasing. White people cried they could see us as human beings.
This
Trevor
is so bad.
I want the people to know. I said white people cry, what's the call? If they could take one thing, what would it be? I say empathy. Oh, that's why they mad at me. They splice lines, make hate to recognize, make it look like the same propaganda they spew. Cause they conflate our pain with violence and try to weaponize everything that we do. The desperation of our passes is rising, and now they holding on to any old thing they can use. If you rely upon misinformation, and that tells me you afraid of the truth, huh? We so bored of fucking drug discourse. We so bored of fucking drug discourse. We so bored of fucking drug discourse. We so bored of drug discourse. Discourse. We so bored of fucking drug discourse. We so bored of fucking drug discourse. We so bored of fucking drug discourse. We so bored of discourse. And now you're listening, I'ma tell you something fascinating. They spin and woke, bastardize it and appropriate it. Let's start a call, woke or something with creators. Speak truth to power, keep an eye out for you silly racists. And now they use it to describe anything they didn't buy. Remember when Gambino put it in the zeitgeist? It was all about the people recognizing bigotry, the power of community, not fodder for your clickbait. Speaking of which, journalists, I'm looking at you. Did you forget it's your job to provide the truth? Spreading divisiveness, mining the metrics and data. See, you gave up all your life, that's your money and views. And I can tell that the people are tired and the kids don't trust anything that they do. We can learn something from them, discerning. The future's coming and it's always the youth. Don't let it get to my spirit, but I'm sick and fucking tired of suppressing my rage. 400 years of taking the bullshit to compartmentalize that my ancestors had to encage. If you don't confront the pain that you live with, it'll manifest as addiction, diseases, and hate. I've seen the infection, repression can give you. I'm not gonna be the next one sent to an early grave.
That's the extra 30 seconds. Oh. Personally, I'd be embarrassed if... Personally, I'd be embarrassed that I directed this. Anyway, the most... Also, here's a good comment. I mean, besides that, but you're an actress who worked on Star Wars, one of the biggest franchises in the industry. I mean, not anymore, but you're really pressed. Yeah, she's not. And getting mad. I mean, I think it's over for us. I think we're defeated now. But this does more damage than, yeah, to own the chuds, guys. Yeah, it's more funny than bad. I mean, what are you doing? You're making a diss track to own the YouTubers who are criticizing this dog crap of a show. And your idea, I think of a good idea is to what? Make a diss track of the people criticizing your show? Yeah, that's a perfect idea. That's perfect. That's such a great idea. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? At this point, it's more funny than depressing or sad. I'm not even mad anymore. Yeah, we're gonna, what is it? Oh, I think this is, I'm getting, did I? Oh, okay. So the James, okay. So we're gonna react to this, which is the Disney discrimination hiring practice thing. So we're gonna take a look at it, and I'm gonna pause it so I don't get hit. But we're gonna react to this.
Certainly, there have been times where, there's no way we're hiring a white male person.
Just kind of
Yeah.
unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken, but
How would they say it?
there's no way we're hiring a white male person. They'd say,
Like straight to you, or okay?
they'd be very careful how they message that to agents.
According to these videotapes, Disney blatantly discriminates against white men in particular.
I think I'm sort of like well prepared for it. I'm well positioned for it. But as far as Disney's concerned, I'm a white male. And that's not who they're looking to promote at the moment.
As a white guy, even Michael has his own doubts about the possibility for advancement for himself at Disney. In fact, Michael actually got to experience Disney's discrimination against white males firsthand.
I've been at the company 11 years now, so I have friends in HR and I have friends in those divisions, and they're like, look, nobody else is going to tell you this, Mike, but they're not considering any white males for the shop. They're just not. Yes.
So how is this allowed? You have a company as big as Disney, and they actively say if you are white, you cannot have this certain job. How is it allowed at all? I don't understand this.
They even passed over a qualified half-black person for a promotion because they didn't look black enough.
We wanted to hire somebody in the department a few years ago now who was half black, but didn't appear half black. And there was a creative executive who was like, we're not, that's not what's wrong. They wanted somebody in meetings who would appear a certain way, and he wasn't gonna bring that to the meeting. I mean, it kind of feels like we're, at some point there's going to be a lawsuit.
I mean, there has to be, right? There has to be a lawsuit. If you're hiring people, I mean, it looks like they just wanted a diversity shield to where if they face any criticism, they'd be like, oh, we have this person that's black. You can't criticize us because we have a black person in our certain division. Which, why wouldn't you hire just someone based on their quality and not their color of the skin? I still don't understand how this is okay, but I guess they wanted a shield for any criticism that department faces.
That's kind of how it feels, just because of,
And that is a lawyer talking. So how does Disney explain pushing these discriminatory practices? They use code words and buzzwords.
I'm guessing that there's a acceptable code words and buzzwords that are used to explain what they're looking for. They might say something like, look, we're not looking at the usual suspects for this job. So it's not a legally actionable thing. Well, everybody knows what it means. They, for writers and actors, you hear all the time, they're like, I'm looking to hire writers and actors who bring diversity. I'm not looking to bring on any more clients who are white.
Welcome to the Disney Tapes. My name is James O'Keefe, standing here in Burbank, California, outside Disney corporate headquarters. This is our first part in a series about blatant discrimination and woke policies at the Walt Disney Company. To say that the Disney Company has had a tumultuous 5 years, well, that would be an understatement. Major box office flops, a losing battle with the state of Florida, and a stock that is one of the worst performers on Wall Street. And as you'll probably conclude from this report, as well as recent shareholder rumblings, almost all of Disney's recent failings are as a result of Bob Iger and the cast of characters here at Disney that are trying to force woke DEI policies into every aspect of Disney's vast media empire. What used to be a highly profitable company, by being the gold standard of family entertainment, has taken a sharp downturn in the wake of all of its wokeness. Under CEO Bob Iger's leadership, Disney's downfall likely started with the insane hiring practices amongst its executives and creative teams. One of their top senior vice presidents claims that they not only discriminate against white men when recruiting and hiring middle management, they actually give bonuses for hiring and retaining employees that are specifically not white. According to these videotapes, Disney blatantly discriminates against whites, white men in particular. Not a week goes by without a news headline about potential medical supply shortages, threats to our infrastructure or power grid. And you remember what they pulled during the last pandemic. Certain medications were mysteriously out of stock. No way will I ever let that happen again. In today's unpredictable world, it's all about being prepared for who knows what they have in store for the next pandemic.
We support the
Our friends
grift.
and supporters at the Wellness Company have designed this unique prescription-based medical emergency kit that is packed with 8 potentially life-saving prescription-only medications, including Z-Pak and ivermectin, which I used myself while out on the road and starting to feel a bit under the weather. Health is everything. And this is a great opportunity to order a Wellness Company Medical Emergency Kit. The Wellness Company Medical Emergency Kit stands ready to treat over 30 common ailments, ensuring you'll have access to vital medications when you need them most. And now save $45 per kit when you order using the code OMG. Get ready to write this down. Get your Wellness Company Medical Emergency Kit at twc.health/OMG. That's twc.health/OMG. That's twc.health/OMG. And save $45 per kit today when you use code OMG.
We have a diversity, equity, and inclusion department who's very involved in setting standards to make sure that our shows have diversity.
Do you think Bob has a say in the diversity stuff when they're casting people?
100%. Yeah.
Who would have saw that one coming? Bob is the president of Disney, so of course he has a say in everything.
So what?
He gives the directive.
For each show,
not that specifically, but hey, I want every show to have substantial.
Iger even has a chief diversity officer. Now, up until recently, that was Latondra
Ryan Kennel? Did Ryan Kennel get hired?
Newton, who played a big part in dragging Disney full bore into its losing culture war by promoting discriminatory hiring practices and introducing gay, lesbian, transgender, non-binary, and other characters into Disney's children's animated series and films.
Is it an all across thing, all of HR, or there's that one specific person that kind of because I forgot the lady's name. She's the head of the,
I know you're talking about
the African American lady. Yeah. So is that kind of her deciding?
She
that?
oversees a lot of that for sure. But it's pretty broad, I would say. There are other people in HR who are also focused on that. I would say a relatively large percentage of our top writer creators happen to be gay. And a lot of
just by happenstance.
I mean, if you say whatever, I don't know, whatever 10 or 15% of the population is gay, I would guess they 30 to 35% of our top writers can be, gay. And so I think a lot of them lean into trans stories more than the average straight writer would.
And in an odd twist,
Shocker. But it's not surprising. Disney talks about, hey, we need this, this, and this. So, it is
you
what.
have to be a white Jewish guy to be considered for a C-suite job. More on that next week.
Wait, Jewish? Why would they allow? Wait a second. That doesn't make sense with the current climate. Disney is just. Okay, I don't care. Disney can shoot themselves in the foot for all I care.
But now let's meet Los Angeles-based Michael Giordano, a white male and Walt Disney's senior vice president of business affairs.
I do business affairs, so negotiations for television.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. That's really
So I'm
cool.
not really on the creative side. So it's a lot of it is, knowing the guild agreements and the union agreements and everything. Make offers for the writers and the actors who are going to be out working on the show, and the producers and the directors, and try to get to a place where we can close a deal with them, help the production to budget, and so much of my job is just the negotiating, really. And then other people are doing kind of the drafting of the contracts. So,
Oh, wow. So, yeah, what's the negotiating like?
I'm sitting down trying to figure out, okay, what are we gonna pay this actor for this role? What do we think they want?
Oh, wow.
Kind of strategize that. Everything from how you produce a show, how you distribute a show, how you exhibit a show, how you market a show, things like that. All of the negotiations and deal making related to it.
Yeah.
Actually two of our brave undercover journalist and American swiper investigative reporters met Michael on the dating app Hinge. And aside from this story, which focused on Disney's overt discrimination against white men, you'll see later on in this report, and it'll be quite entertaining, Michael turns out to be quite the ladies' man.
How long have you been on dating apps?
Hinge isn't such a bad idea after all. You can find scoops on there, I guess.
Very long.
Have you been going out?
Not a lot. Not a lot.
Anything for it?
You know what's funny? No.
Let's dig right into Disney's blatant practices of discrimination. If you're wondering how Disney as a company looks at race, gender, and discrimination in the hiring process, about how they recruit and hire talent, look no further.
I think there are times when it's so front and center. It's great because that's the focus. We have so many shows where we're casting and we're we're not even going to see certain people for it because we need that particular role to.
Yeah.
To,
So is it intentional that they want they only look for diverse candidates for certain
times.
roles?
Yeah. I think there's certainly a belief that it's just good for society and they know. But there's also a belief that we're going to make more money if we appeal to a wider variety of people. And
How is the money gone? Is my question. How is this money gone? So far, Disney has had, bomb after bomb besides In and Out, which might make it not In and Out, Inside Out, whatever. Inside Out 2 as a sequel and might make $1 billion. So outside of this one, it's been bomb after bomb. So diversity clearly doesn't make money. That's been shown already. It doesn't make money.
it's a good thing. We have shareholders too, and so diversity helps with that.
Diversity helps with financial incentive.
Yeah.
So is it do you think it's more so on that side, or are you using any good prices gets put to use,
Disney would
or?
do it regardless. I think that Disney would do it regardless, but I think that there are even conservative people who may not want to lean into it can easily make the argument that we make more money when we have to deal with a wider variety of people, and that means diversity.
Yeah.
There's a real focus on every show. And I'm sure the movies too, though I don't deal with that side of it. So, just making sure that the writers' room has a real, diversity, not just, not just gender or sexual orientation and ethnicity, but making sure that they're hiring some writers who they have certain disabilities where they wouldn't have been hired before.
So, like the Echo show? How did the Echo show again? Didn't they dropped it all on Disney Plus? What? What are you trying to say? Oh, we getting dirt? I guess. I mean, this is only part 1, so. But Echo didn't do that well. So clearly disabilities. I mean, she wasn't an actor, so, and they hired her because of her disability. So clearly. Oh, right. I am good. How are you?
Since there's kind of there's a really broad look whenever we're doing that to make sure that everybody knows.
Yeah.
So they talk a big game about DEI, but do they actually do it? Apparently so. They even passed over a qualified half-black person for a promotion because they didn't look black enough.
Yeah.
We had a situation where we wanted to hire somebody in the department a few years ago now, who was half black, but didn't appear half black. And there was a creative executive who was like, "We're not that's not what."
Wait. How do you not appear half black? It means you're a bit lighter than black, or? Good to hear. But how do you appear not half black? Is it you're half white or not dark enough to be black, considered half black? I do not understand the logic.
They wanted the full.
They wanted somebody in meetings who would appear a certain way, and he wasn't gonna bring that to the meeting.
And so this is on the.
This was on the.
So they wanted basically a black person's shield. If they got criticism, is what it seems to be. That's what it seems, that if they got criticism in that department, they say, we have a black person, so you can't criticize us. At least that's what it seems. To me, at least.
Side, the business side.
I never understood that. Is it because I know a lot of, I have a lot of black friends who are not as dark as So do they care about that, or is the ethnicity actually?
They say they don't care about it, but the truth is, to some extent, they do. If you're mixed, but you don't look black at all, which sometimes happens, then they're like, "Oh, I'm not so sure." But if you're mixed and you can tell somebody's part black, but they're not that black, so okay, that was still it's crazy.
But apparently Meghan Markle is black enough? You can't make this up.
So would Meghan Markle, who's pretty white,
Right, yeah.
would she be considered
She would still be
diverse?
Yeah.
How does that make sense? Meghan Markle looks more white than me. Or anybody. I mean, she's pretty white. So how is she considered diverse when she looks mostly white? She's, I mean, probably some dark, but she's mostly white. So how does she consider diverse, but someone who half black isn't? My gosh.
Huh? As a white guy, even Michael has his own doubts about the possibility for advancement for himself at Disney, saying, quote, "As far as Disney is concerned, I am a white male."
Right now, I'm a half step below a department head. I have a team under me, but I don't oversee a whole department. And I'd like to oversee a whole department, whether that's at Disney or having to lead. So.
Okay. Do you think that you'll have the opportunity at Disney?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I think I'm sort of like well prepared for it. I'm well positioned for it. But as far as Disney's concerned, I'm a white male, and that's not who they're looking to promote at the moment.
In fact, Michael actually got to experience Disney's discrimination against white males firsthand.
So,
Oh, do you think that has a lot to do with it?
I don't know a lot, but it's something to do with it.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think the competition is?
Oh, I mean, I've been up for jobs internally against people who have less experience than me, and haven't gotten it.
Okay. And they were given to somebody else. Do you think it had something to do with their...
In one or two cases, I was told very explicitly that it did. Yeah.
Explicitly how? What did they tell you?
Oh, I mean, I've been at the company 11 years now, so I have friends in HR and I have friends in those divisions, and they're like, look, nobody else is going to tell you this, Mike, but they're not considering any white males for the shop. They're just not. That's not what they want.
And so it's probably fair that Disney would say, we don't want a white person to play this role.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're very careful about messaging, because they don't want to get to discrimination in either direction. But certainly there have been times where, there's no way we're hiring a white male person.
Just kind of unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken, but
How would they say it?
there's no way we're hiring a white male person. They'd say,
Like straight to you? Or, okay.
they'd be very careful how they message that to agents.
In like email or whatever.
Right. But
They are slimy and sneaky about it. But this coming out, Disney doesn't deserve anything. They don't deserve respect or pity. So I hope they get sued or something happens because of this coming out. So
After getting a dose of Disney's discrimination himself, it seems like Michael may have been hit with a reality check that discrimination against people based upon race is probably not cool.
I mean, it kind of feels like at some point there's going to be a lawsuit. That's kind of how it feels, just because of,
And that is a lawyer talking. Now, could it get worse? It actually does. Not only does Disney discriminate against white men, it gives management bonuses to hire DEI candidates over white men, totally disregarding their level of qualification, as long as they're not white. You heard me correctly. A part of some executives' compensation package is based on hiring and retaining black hires. We saw this in the case of IBM. America First Legal has launched a lawsuit. Many people coming out of the woodwork from IBM, from these Fortune 500 companies, all saying they've experienced this. We are certain to hear from people inside Disney who've made these claims. Many people here in Los Angeles, here in Hollywood, very afraid of Disney, very afraid of retaliation against their creative productions or movies or films or jobs for speaking about this truth. But if you have been a victim of discrimination, please reach out to OMG or Citizen Journalism Foundation, and we will try to get you representation to get your rights back. I've had it with all my personal and private information being exposed and exploited by big tech and big government. So I'm joining my
respect
friend Eric
the
Prince,
double grift.
and I'm switching to my new unplugged phone. Protect your privacy. Get your very own unplugged phone. Go to unplugged.com/OMG. That's unplugged.com/OMG. Take your privacy back. Unplugged.com/OMG.
I mean, HR keeps a huge spreadsheet. Yeah.
What kind of spreadsheet?
Oh, I mean, I haven't seen it exactly, but I mean, literally, they have stats. 17% of our executives at this level identify as XYZ. 40% of our executives at this level identify as, they have goals that they're trying to hit. They want a certain percentage of diversity here, a certain percentage of diversity there.
But are these these are open goals? Because you're saying they can't say it in such specific terms. So are they open goals?
They are open goals at a senior enough level.
So how does Disney explain pushing these discriminatory practices to the people that they work with? Well, according to Michael Giordano, it seems like it's a sensitive issue, and they use code words and buzzwords.
I'm guessing that there is a acceptable code words and buzzwords that are used to explain what they mean.
So to avoid getting in trouble, they use words that don't sound as bad as they would if they just said it straight up.
That they're looking for. They might say something like, you know, look, we're not looking at like the usual suspects for this job. You know, so it's like not like a legally actionable thing, but everybody knows what it means.
According to Michael, even Disney's human resources agencies are on board with these practices. Hi, guys, do you know what the code words are for the discriminatory hiring practices? Do you work in HR? No? You familiar with the buzzwords? They don't know what I'm talking about now, but they will soon.
They, you know, the writers and actors will hear all the time, like, you know, I'm looking to hire writers and actors who bring diversity, and I'm not looking to bring on any more clients who are like you know, so there's definitely that focus.
Disney even has an internal organization such as 20th Action Group, whose sole purpose is to promote discriminatory DEI hiring practices and to push bizarre characters and storylines on children. The question is, can the people just come to work, make their cartoons, and do the discrimination elsewhere? But apparently not on CEO Bob Iger's watch. So how is prioritizing these DEI practices over hiring merit-based talent worked out for Disney shareholders, you might ask? Well, over the past 5 years, the S&P index is up over 88%, and Disney is down almost 30%, making that once golden brand one of Wall Street's biggest disappointments. Yes, the disaster that Disney has become is probably the most glaring example of what happens when you prioritize DEI over talent content creators and executives who truly know how to build value. So will Disney turn it all around and hire or promote based upon merit? We shall see. This is just part one. We got another tape coming out next week. This is a multiple part series. I spoke with Michael Giordano. You'll see that soon.
Are you going to date?
We are.
You have nothing to say?
I haven't seen you in. Do you work for Disney? I'm not gonna. Is this you right here?
And hopefully we get a comment from the CEO, Bob Iger, reporting from Burbank, California, outside the Walt Disney Company. This is James O'Keefe with OMG.
To answer the last question about will they change, of course they won't. Because they believe in what they're doing. And let's see how it's going. Okay, it's not that bad, actually. But let's see. Now back onto the Acolyte. Let's take a look. Okay, it hasn't... Oh, there's some boosting going on, though. There's some review boosting. They're not going to mention review boosting. But yesterday, it was at 82. Now it's at 85. Audience has stayed the same. It's probably going to go down later. But it's review boosting. So, okay. But we're going to take a look at one more. I think we might have time for maybe one more video. Maybe. Okay. We're going to just play this back. Shout out to Star Wars Theory. If Nagradal is still in the chat, maybe link the video. It's the most recent one.
I feel like a detective, unraveling things here and there. Just gets more and more juicy of how poorly put together this whole thing is. And please, guys, never go after the writers or actors or anything like that. I'm asking you on my behalf. Always criticize the showrunners.
I agree. Do not attack anybody. Don't attack anyone. The people that actually are, making the behind the scenes stuff because they are just doing their job. Where the showrunners deserve it because they actively made this show. They made this the worst Disney show in the worst. I mean, yeah, the worst Disney show and the worst Disney project since probably Kenobi with the Last Jedi. And and congratulations, Lucasfilm. You made us all united under the Star Wars fandom united for the first time probably since before Last Jedi happened. So congratulations, Disney. You united us, just not in the way you wanted.
Yeah, never go after them personally, but you know what?
Yeah, don't.
Didn't they get any oversight? Let's get to it. You wrote this episode. Here's the writer for episode 4. This is all overseen by Leslie Headland, right? He hired people to her discretion. You wrote this episode 4.
Who didn't know Star Wars?
Why is Ki-Adi-Mundi in it? One, he wasn't even born, says Black Zarson. He's not supposed to know anything about the Sith. The writer says he doesn't know anything about the Sith? Why would he?
What?
And we offered the part to Yoda, but he wasn't available. So a young Ki-Adi-Mundi stepped in for the part. Hire me, man. I'll write these for free. Seriously, I'll write these episodes for free, dude. He doesn't know anything
It'd be a
about
better
the Sith.
show.
Why would he know anything about the Sith? I don't know. Maybe because in The Phantom Menace, the Sith haven't shown up for 1,000 freaking years. Why is he now learning that there is a fallen Jedi or a Sith with a red lightsaber who's going around training people to kill Jedi? And the person he's training is the twin sister of a former Jedi. A former Jedi who was created by the Force along with her twin sister. And when Qui-Gon brings this attention to the council, Ki-Adi-Mundi is like, what the heck? He's the top 3. It's him, Yoda, and Mace Windu who approve or disapprove of this. Why would he know about the Sith? We offered the part to Yoda, but he wasn't tech available. So I guess that's maybe Jon Favreau his way of saying, hey, I don't think that we should put Yoda in this because he's just too big of a character that they could potentially mess up.
As much as I hate Filoni now, which, hey, I used to be one of the Filoni fans. I actually kind of think that's actually true. Even though Filoni is complicit in this entirely, I think he's smart enough to know, hey, let's not put Yoda in because it's gonna make a lot of people mad if it. So I think, in a sense, he had enough sense to, not use the big person Yoda for this show. So I was like, let's use a character no one's gonna really care about.
And we want to keep him, if he's gonna return, we want to keep him really sparingly. Like, why was she even killing Jedi in the first place then? I assumed she wanted revenge. Does her sister being alive remove her thirst for revenge then? I'm just having trouble understanding. How does one go from
I think
death
we're
of
all
Jedi
having trouble
to,
understanding
for the
this
Republic,
show.
screw this Acolyte guy? And it's true. She basically gets tired on the hike and she's like, you know what? My allegiance is now to my sister.
That was
after
a
like 17 years.
That was a Battlefront 2 level turn. And Battlefront 2's at least was, I guess, somewhat better because it was literally she turned because the Empire killed her planet. At least that made sense. This one, there was no reason for her to turn at all because she freaking tried to kill her sister.
And I'm just going to, I guess because she realizes her sister is alive or, so anyways, here we have the answer. She's not
Why
good
after trying
in
to
that
kill?
moment. She's just super tired of this pointless, what she considers.
Oh my gosh. They're doing she's not a bad person or a good person. She's just tired and misunderstood. Give me a break.
There's pointless missions and errands her master is making her do. Pointless. I thought that she wanted to get revenge on these Jedi.
Didn't she want to kill?
There's no motive. There's no actual personal motive in there, which is we all thought there was. And I think the revenge that really fueled her just isn't quite the same once she knows Osha is alive. Okay.
But she tried to kill her sister. What are you talking about?
Fair enough. That makes sense. Did you consult Dave Filoni before writing this episode? Not before the actual writing. Oh. But after breaking, and he gives notes to all scripts and has to ultimately approve them along with the rest of the Lucasfilm team. So I guess Dave did approve that Ki-Adi them along with the rest of the Lucasfilm team. So I guess Dave did approve that Ki-Adi-Mundi is in there. That's very unfortunate. I think to me this is probably the most shocking You know, why would he know about the Sith? Good question. He really shouldn't. The whole premise to me
Seriously
that
going
Kiadi
through
Mundi
it.
is there really undermines his
Uh,
sentiments in The Phantom Menace, which kind of, to be honest, are like what really sets this show into being plausible and not plausible. So I can see why they wanted to put him in there, because it's like, well, if we put the very guy that completely detracts this show from making like makes this show literally impossible because he said that no Sith has shown up for 1,000 years. If we throw him in there, then, okay, maybe it's going to be plausible now. But no, it doesn't. Because now you have Kiadi Mundi, who knows about this, now hiding it from the Jedi High Council, hiding it from Yoda. I mean, they were going to have Yoda in there. It's even worse, dude. We're going to have freaking Yoda. Could you imagine Yoda? Now we know that Yoda's not in the show because he's just not tech available. Dave being like, we don't want to give you access to Yoda, but we're going to say it in a nice way. They're very political over it. Very Palpatine, I must say. I would just be like, hell no, you're not touching Yoda. Are you crazy? First of all, Leslie Hedden wouldn't even be on the project to begin with. So a young Kiadi Mundi stepped in. A young, so young, we had to make his birth date 40 years earlier because he was that young. We had to live.
oh, the Wikipedia was hilarious. The Wikipedia refreshing and deep dive was hilarious. I was having this in the background, and I heard that Kai Mooney's birthday got changed. I'm like, hold a second. And then it changed every refresh. It was great.
Literally change what was already established. And people are saying, oh, but it wasn't established. It was. He had a birth date, many
Yes.
different sources, and one of them including is a Topps card. This was all done when George was in charge. He's 70 years old, dude.
Yeah, the people say it's only legends. It's not only legends. It's been a thing. And even, let's say he didn't have a birthday, whatever. He was old by the time of the Phantom Menace anyway. So, by that alone, it doesn't make sense. Just by how he looks and how old he is alone, it doesn't make sense.
He was born 93 BBY. This is like they're just changing stuff, bro. It's wild to me, dog. I don't know. I'm cool with change, I like that, but it's got to make sense. It has to. It
Yeah.
can't be like, whoa, what's this big drop here? You can't notice it. It's just got to be calm, steady. Okay, this makes sense. This is going along the confines of what George created, the structure that he created. But like Leslie Headland says, I guess people who only care about what George thinks, that's the war myth. That's the misogyny. And my God. In conclusion, I'm glad that a young Kiadi Mundi could step in, and I'm even more glad that a Yoda wasn't tech available, which is great, because that would have been just.
Where's the 180 budget
Anyways,
go
Acolyte episode
with?
5 next week. We'll see what happens.
Oh, that's gonna be glorious. Okay, so shout out to Star Wars Theory on that video. So, okay, I think we have a little bit longer. We have I think like 10, 20 minutes left. Okay, but
Well, I went to college.
okay, I don't care about the freaking ad. Okay, anyway, so where'd the $180 budget go into then? I'm still convinced the K-drama actor Lee Jung-jae from Squid Game cost half the budget. Because goodness, did you see the Marvel budget as well? That also costs money. And guess what two those things have in common? They have two K-drama actors in those shows. And they were both expensive. I'm convinced half the budget of that show, of both those projects, went to getting those Korean actors. Because boy are they expensive. Especially to get them in a show that's not Korean as well. Even more. So I'm convinced half the budget. Actually, let's take a look. Budget or oh, he costs $1 million alone. He cost $1 million US, which is a 1.3 billion Korean won. So that actually tracks that half the budget would go to, half the budget of the show, or part of the budget, went into, is 180. So some of it went into getting him, which 1.3. We don't know what if they paid in US or not, but anyway. The point is that half this show is 180, and the show is objectively terrible. Like, I'm sorry, like, it's objectively awful. Like, you can pretend to like the show, whatever. Also, I've seen some people, you know, that are like trying to say or dismiss. I had an argument with someone this morning on Twitter saying, "Hey, about Academy Mundi." It's like the dismissal was so stupid. The dismissal was just like EU isn't canon, so you can make up whatever birthday you want. I'm like, it's the lamest dismissal I've ever heard. And we had someone on Instagram who was talking about the legacy of Anakin, yada yada yada. I want to reply to one of the Instagrams like, you can like the show, whatever, but don't treat your followers or the fans like idiots. It's not gonna go well. It's never gone well ever. So, okay, I think the last thing we're gonna talk about is it's gonna be the video games. Because, well, went over the Acolyte. We've gone over freaking Disney being racist as anything. So we're gonna talk about the last two, which is two Zelda. I mean Zelda and Metroid Prime 4. This is funny. About this is I thought we were gonna be waiting a while, and literally a day after this comes out. So, also the funny thing is what came out. Okay, let's actually slacks. Oh, nice. Actually, let's just go
Uber
with
Eats has
this
Lola
one.
V products? I gotta remember that.
No, they
dang it,
say in
ad.
order to remember something, you have to forget.
Okay. Where is it?
Hello and welcome back to Digital Foundry Direct non-weekly edition. This is a special episode based on the recently.
Okay.
Our next topic. It's Lego Horizon.
Not that. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Dang it. Okay, anyway. I was just gonna say that it's funny how the Lego game looks more like a girl than the game itself. That's all I was gonna say. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna mute this. I don't want to get copy hit. So the thing is that then Zelda later. So the thing about this is one, it's like it's a fan favorite video game character. Samus, Metroid Prime, Metroid, very good. And then Zeus Samus, also a good character, and she's also in Smash. And it's funny how this direct had one of the top three Nintendo IPs: Mario, Donkey Kong, actually top four, and also the ones in Smash: Mario, Donkey Kong, Metroid, and Zelda. So there's so no one had a problem with it because Samus is actually a good character. That's why no one was complaining, and no one was forcing. It's like, oh, this is the independent, powerful woman. So no one has a problem with it because it's an actual good character, and people like Samus. People like Zelda. People like characters that are women, but it's not the focus. And she's more of a character outside. She's a bounty hunter. She's intergalactic bounty hunter whose parents died to Ridley, who's an alien. Okay, now the Zelda, which they used the style of the I think it was Link's Awakening style, which is kind of like cartoony-ish. The cartoony look of Link's Awakening again looks neat. So the cartoony look of Link's Awakening, and some people were like, "That's a woke." This is not woke in any way, any capacity, because Zelda isn't replacing Link. Link got trapped. Zelda has her own playstyle, is her own character, and yeah, I mean, I mean, it's not called like Zelda. It title isn't Zelda's Awakening or something, but they do have this wisdom, which she is she has the Triforce of Wisdom. Link has the Triforce of Hero, and Ganon has the Triforce of Destruction. So, and also has the staff, which is nice touch. Okay, let's just skip that. And I mean, the point of this is just I mean, yeah, you could say it, because she's trying to save Link, but people, I mean, there's been games where Zelda is the main character, and some people have asked for Zelda as the main character. So that's not the problem. The problem is when you make the main focus, or just say it's because she's a woman, independent, yada yada. It's not. It doesn't make sense. I mean, Echo table, Echo, and then you could copy the table. I mean, she has her own playstyle, so it's pretty. It's pretty good. It looks. I'm interested. I'm also interested for the Lego Horizon, which also for the Lego game has a woman as the character, and looks more feminine than the actual game it's based off, which is a little ironic. But it looks pretty good. I mean, when does it come out? It comes out, I think it's September the 26th. So this comes out later in the year. It looks pretty good. I do need it probably. I should probably finish Tears of the Kingdom first before I try this, but at the end, it's not women in gaming. I mean, this Nintendo Direct proved that entire argument to be a bunch of bullshit. So, I mean, also that Direct, Nintendo wins every time they make it. I mean, that's probably the best Direct in a good while, also. But Nintendo just wins when they announce games. They don't really, they don't do anything. They don't show what they're going to be talking about. All they said before is they're not going to be talking about the next generation of the Switch. That was it. And then we got a bunch of surprises. Donkey Kong, which it's been years since there's been a Donkey Kong game. Mario Luigi. It's been also years since that Mario Luigi, Zelda, and Metroid Prime. I did not expect. I expect to be waiting a little longer for Metroid Prime, but that's also because it's been 2017 since there's been a Metroid game. Metroid Prime was even discussed at all. So that's. Oh, Ace Attorney, Luigi Mansion 2D, Hello Kitty. Yeah. I mean, that's basically Animal Crossing. Animal. So what else? Yeah, I delete Scram thing because I don't want to see that again. Okay. So at the end. Okay. So this is. Let's see what else we got. What else we? Acolyte. That's. Is there anything else we can talk about? I mean, I guess I could. I mean, they also showed Perfect Dark, which is another woman. Another one. I mean, what else? Gerudo Town. Yeah, yeah. Honest will be right when they've tried to. Dalton's the grandmothers. That's funny. Okay. But, I mean, that just proves that, all this, you just hate women in gaming is untrue. Because you had two characters that are one of the. I mean, to be fair, they're both iconic characters of video games. But there are two women characters, and everyone loved it. And then people are over here complaining that, hey, why aren't you mad that there's women? It's not the women. It's the forcing women or the forced diversity into a game or a franchise or whatever it is. It's saying, oh, it's independent women. Look at this independent women and stuff. But if you just make a game where it's a woman, but it's not making the men look worse, people will play it. Regardless, at the end of the day, people just want to play a game. They don't want politics in the game. They just want to play a game that's fun. So that's all it takes. You just make a game that looks fun. Hey, but can I have Mother 3 on, please? Even though, but the one thing of concern is if these Western people try to touch this game and because if they do, they'll either try to make them gay or independent women crap it. So that's my only fear. Is they'll try to be like, okay, Zelda's independent, now she's better than Link, and now she has the master. She can now wield the Master Sword. And Metroid, I don't know. There's not really another woman in Metroid, so I don't know how they would screw that one up. Except just unless the game is just terrible in general. Like unless the game is terrible, which I hope not, because we've been waiting for Metroid Prime for literally ever. I mean, we've been waiting for this game, Metroid Prime, forever. So, where is it? Okay, there. We've been waiting for Metroid Prime for literally years at this point. So, yeah, let's double check. Okay, it's still the same, but at Acolyte is dog crap. Anyone defends it? I mean, last thing I'm going to say before we close it out on the Acolyte is you can like the show. You're allowed to like it, but don't try to lie to people and lie. Don't try to lie to your fans or your fan base or the people that follow you and gaslight you into thinking it's a good show. It is not a good show. If and everyone's roasting it, and specifically Charlie Penguin Zero is roasting it and making 2 videos on it, it's really bad. So at the end of the day, you can like the show. We're not saying you can't, but don't pretend it's trash. Don't pretend it's not what it is, which is a terrible show. It's just awful. So at the end of the day, this is only going to get worse. We'll see what happens in episode 5. I don't think it's going to get better. In my opinion, it's going to get worse and worse as time goes on. And I expect the numbers to go down. And they changed Wikipedia because Leslie Headland decided to add a character that shouldn't belong there. At the end of the day, Disney Star Wars is. I think this should be a sign that Disney Star Wars sucks. Dave Filoni is not the savior, and he never was. That's the end. That's the end. So I'm gonna go. See you probably either tomorrow, maybe, or Monday. So peace out. I will see y'all when I make a video next time. So cheers.